Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Jason here with Andrew Live. Just got done watching the non-farm payroll with Tony. Thanks a lot for that, Tony. You do a great job. I'm really happy that you take control of that thing because it can be a little crazy. You know, the numbers, you can see what's going on now. Did you get a chance to watch some of it, Andrew?
I wasn't watching Tony so much, but I know he does a great job normally. For me, he's a great caller and he gets the crosses right, and it gives me a good answer sometimes. But I wasn't able to watch it today. I was just working on my own trades, and because there's a slight delay on the feed for me, I needed it real time, so I had to take him off over the numbers. Let me just call that down.
Got it.
But but he's normally very good on that. I don't know if he made any pips on it. Did he make any pips?
I think he did on Euro Yen, if I saw correctly there at the end. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, Euro Yen, that's unfortunate. I was not unfortunate for him, good for Tony, but I closed out just before the numbers on my long Euro Yen position, which I've had. I don't know if you guys saw what we're doing now. If I may take this on a sec, is every morning GMT and every afternoon Eastern Standard Time. Jason and I come on and do like a 30-second, like an oversight of what we're going to see, what we're looking at in the day. And this morning I mentioned that I was looking at basically yen weakness and euro strength. So I had a euro yen 15 pip scalp early today, and I was also long into the numbers, took a very small amount of profit out of it before the numbers. And the euro odds, another one I was talking about this morning. But it was I've been all square into the numbers. How about yourself? Did you trade over the numbers?
Well, I didn't. The trade that I had going yesterday, the one that was paying me the most, was along on the dollar yen. And if I pull up my chart here, I'm not going to show it up to the room here, but I got in at 114.50s, and I got out about, let's see how many minutes. I got out about 8 minutes before the numbers, so I got it at 115.40, and it was a nice trade. I rode it up all the way overnight and closed out 89 pips, dollar yen long. Got out before the number. Excellent. Now I'm currently flat. I also took my pending order off on the Australian US dollar short, which would have been triggered now, but I took that off right before non-farm as well, maybe 10 minutes before. So it was good. I like it.
Good stuff. Good. Mm-hmm. Nice to end the week on with a few pips in the bank, I guess.
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all, Andrew. I'll tell you what. If you guys have been in the it shows in all rooms the little intro video that we're working on and doing. I put a couple out the last couple of days. Andrew's been doing them for a while. And just so you know, because I would just learn this last week too. And when I say you, I mean the guys in the room, because I know you know, Andrew. When we do our little intro video, when you log in and it tells you sort of what we're looking at, it stays up for 4 hours from when we posted it. So I had a couple of people saying, well, how come I don't see it anymore? And so after we upload it, it's going to be on for 4 hours. And we think that's enough. I mean, if we're talking about a trade that we're in or watching 4 hours later, I mean, I don't know if you want to know 10 hours later, but 4 hours is pretty good. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it's been like Snapchat, isn't it? You can't be up there forever.
That's right. So,
so we leave it in there for us. And of course, when I come in and GMT European opening, by the time the US comes in, there's more relevant stuff going on. Now, obviously, I'm popping in my ideas now and again in the room. But we don't want to get people looking at too old information on that. That's why we want to keep it as current as possible. So 4 hours in this market, I think, is good enough, and it coincides with the US opening and the European opening. So that's good enough. But of course, if anyone wants to chat me regarding the ideas that we had up earlier, you can always chat me on the Forex Signals site here. You can PM me if you're not in the other room. You can always get hold of me that way, or you can send me an email, and same as Jason. So there's no reason the fact that it's not up there you can't contact us. Of course, you can always contact us.
Yep. You got it.
Sometimes they're still relevant. I mean, for example, the euro yen today. I mean, that's been relevant for me all day today. I am flat a bit at the moment. But in terms of the position, I still like that trade. I still think it's, for whatever reason, the market is really liking the euro at the moment. It's the strongest currency. It's remaining the strongest currency since Johnny came up and started speaking yesterday. Yep. And the yen, everyone's just moving out of the yen. It's interesting, actually, Jason. If you look at the, maybe I'm going off topic here slightly, but if you look at, where dollar index was just ahead of the numbers and where dollar yen was. Ahead of the numbers, it just shows you that dollar has been reasonably weak over the last couple of days, but dollar yen has been really, really flying to the upside.
Right.
And that just shows you that the yen is under big, big pressure at the moment. It's also available on the propulsion meter. You can see the yen is under extreme pressure at the moment. So there's no reason for me at the moment to buy the yen. But that is a good indication. Just by looking at the dollar index and the dollar yen, you can see what's really moving that market is. The dollar strength and weakness, and it's
you got it.
They're in the opposite direction. So. But only back to that point about the streams, they're relevant for 4 hours. If you want to come back and ask us, by all means, do so.
You got it. And I know in the room last night we were having, I don't know, I thought it was fun. I mean, we were being pretty active, chatting in the premium, and we were talking about a sell in the dollar CAD, and I had a short all the way down, and then a buy when it came back up, and we were just talking. We were sort of having fun in there last night, discussing things, and I had to give props out to a couple traders. I had I don't mention his name, but he's got in and out of the euro yen long and taken 50 pips, 80 pips, 40 pips. I mean, just been really, really, really hammering it, and it's awesome to see that. I mean, it's awesome to see him show the charts and talk about the trades and know that it's working. It's working long term. So
excellent.
This week,
maybe you can drop me a PM later and tell me who that is, and I'll have a chat with him.
No, he's been doing good. I'm real happy for him. The thing about this week that's been sort of unique for me is, and I didn't prepare this ahead of time, but I mean, just looking at my terminal here, I've only had maybe 6 trades this week. But I'm ahead a nice chunk this week. This has been a really good week for me. But the last day or so, I mean, I've only traded dollar yen, a little bit of euro pound, had a couple pending orders that didn't fill, but still a lot of profit this week. So it just goes to show, that's one of the topics we were talking about last night, is you don't have to overtrade. You don't have to look for all the little scalps and all these little things and sit for hours. You can do really well just waiting for the sweet ones, So,
well, that's the biggest thing about trading, isn't it? You have this. People have the compulsion to always to trade. Right. I say if you have that compulsion because you want to be in a trade for the excitement, run two accounts. One account that pays the bills, and one account for a bit of fun. I mean, there's no harm in that at all if you want to have a bit of fun when you're trading. And you will soon find out that maybe having fun is maybe not the most profitable of way to have fun. But sometimes having 2 side accounts like that is worthwhile doing it. I do have I'm in the UK, Jason. We have a something here called spread betting, so you can spread bet. I have a spread betting account,
sure.
Which I've been scalping on this week, very, very small amounts. It's not going to put my kids in school or through school,
Sure.
but it keeps the interest in there, and it's actually like yourself. It's actually been quite a good week on that account. But my bills are paid by the longer term trades, off the 1 hour, 4 hour charts, and I think this week I've had I've had even less than that. I think I've had maybe 3 trades, and I got to be honest, I got stopped out in the I was short euro dollar overnight on my main account. It came back into a selling zone yesterday, and took a trade, went into profit nicely. Didn't hit the profit target, but got stopped out overnight on the euro rally after Drahi started speaking about what's basically him removing some words from his text, and basically put a rally under the euro.
Yeah.
And so I got stopped out on that. So I'm actually must be flat on the week really in terms of the large account, but I'm having fun on the
cool
on the scalping account and making some pips.
Cool. And I wanted to bring this up before I forget, because we got a lot of things to talk about here with everybody. But and I'll be looking, as you will, I'm sure, at the chat in a little while. I haven't even looked at it yet, so I apologize. Don't forget about the CAD news. We just had this big CAD news that came out, and it came out really good for the Canadian dollar. Yeah. Their employment change was projected to be 600 jobs added. They added 15,300, and their unemployment rate previous was 6.8, expected was 6.8, and it came out 6.6. So you take a little bit of a weak dollar and a strong CAD, and you can see the dollar CAD came off pretty well. If
you put up the meter that a lot of you have there now, hopefully, you can see that the CAD has been the biggest performer, of course, out of all the currencies at the moment.
Yeah.
And you've seen what's happening to, of course, the oil prices over the last week or so. We've hit to 4 and 5 month lows in oil prices, and that's put the CAD under a lot of pressure. So there's a lot of money to be made on shorting CAD this week. But now this is making a few of those shorts cover their ground pretty quickly. So not only do you have strong numbers out in Canada, you also have some big short covering from people that are playing the oil market to the downside. So that's why you've had that big big move in the CAD.
Sure.
I don't know once that news dies down, Jason, once that news goes out of the picture, I mean, you know, oil prices are going to be the predominant factor for the Canadian dollar. So any major strength in CAD at the moment, for me, I'll have to look on that as a selling opportunity of CAD pairs. Yeah. Personally, as oil remains under pressure, and it does seem to be remaining under pressure, as long as we stay at these levels in oil or below, the CAD is going to be, any rise in the CAD is going to be, it's going to be resisted, I think.
I agree with that. And we were talking last night as well about the price of oil, if it was going to pop up this morning a little bit. And it did pop up. It hit 50, and now it's back down to 49.87. So I'm not saying we put a bottom in WTI crude by any means, but, breaking through the support levels on crude definitely doesn't do a lot for the Canadian dollar. But then you have this strong Canadian dollar news. So that's why I like looking at your trade meter as well. And if you don't mind, Andrew, I'm going to pull it up real quick, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do.
And we'll just pull it up for a minute, just so you can take a look. If you don't have it, you can download it here. Let's see, where is it? There it is. Let me just shrink this a little bit so it fits in. And I'll let you just describe it, Andrew, because you're the expert. This is your thing. I did like your commentary in there, talking about Euro Yen a while ago. So there it is.
Okay, so let's have a look. Pull up the...
I gave you some props on the stream yesterday morning too, by the way. I don't know if you heard or not, but you had posted market commentary about buying Euro Yen, and that was like 3 or 4 hours before we were buying Euro Yen and making pips. So it was great. So it was a good one. Good call.
Well, I mean, it's not, it wasn't, to be honest, guys, it's not rocket science. The euro is looking strong, yen was looking weak, and I just remember the flow. But look at that chart now. What time frame is that, Jason?
This is a 15-minute. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the 15-minute just basically is reaction. What's happening is instant moment in time. I would never normally trade off this because it's very, very responsive. If you put it out to the 1 hour, you'll see basically a direction of where the markets are going. I like to get on trending markets, markets that are trending up, trending down, as opposed to snap sort of announcement reactions.
This is a 1 hour now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can see the purple line, which is the Canadian dollar. That just shows you that almost a vertical line there. That shows you obviously the reaction that the markets had to the news, to the employment number news that came out of Canada and the US. And you see the green line is the greenback. That's the US dollar, and that's heading south. But what's just apparent to me, what sticks out to me, is just the continuation of the lowest currency there, and that's the Japanese yen. That's just continuing. Whatever's going on in Canada and US, the Japanese yen is just remaining weak across the board at the moment. So I don't see any real reason to turn around from that trend at the moment. So I will be looking at pairs that will play the yen to the downside and look for pairs to play to the upside. The euro, of course, take the Canadian dollar out of it. Take the purple line out of it. You'll see the one below is the sky blue line. That's the euro. So that's had a nice move. It's heading in the right direction. So the euro yen is still a play to the upside. Obviously, you have to then drill into the charts yourself to get some price entry points and some price action to see where you should be entering. I mean, I never like buying on tops of candles or selling on bottoms of candles. I like to look at pullbacks into resistance levels or a factor of ATR or something like that. Mm-hmm. But this gives you a good indication, and it's not rocket science either. So anyone that wants to know the theory behind it, this is basically a deviation from its own moving average against the US dollar, which is 88% of the currency. So it gives you a broad pitch. It doesn't give you signals. It's not a signal provider. It's just an indication rather than you have to scan 28 different charts. You can look at this and just see basically the broad picture of what's going on in the 8 different currencies that we tend to trade.
Nice.
So that's basically what it is. And you see that the box there on the left-hand side, that's commentary that I post in, some commentaries throughout the day as I see anything materialize. And if anyone wants to feed back on that, again, you can just PM me, private message me on here on Forex Signals, and it comes back off my screen. And I am sitting here for just too many hours of the day, Jason. So
I'm gonna just pull up a chart here. I don't know if you want to have a chart. As long as I got the screen all squished down, I'm gonna pull up my dollar yen here, because I'll just show you where I got in and out of that thing. Do you have any charts you want to have pulled up before we go back to the video and talk about the coming up week and Don't forget, everybody, too, if you're in the U.S., you have daylight savings time this weekend. So don't forget, if you're checking the markets on Sunday evening when it opens, don't forget about daylight savings time. Just a little reminder. So this is the dollar yen. This is the one that we took and got long here, March 9th at 6 o'clock on the time frame, and got out right here before non-farm. You can see I just squeaked it out before non-farm, and I was just thinking, got to practice what you preach, you know. I'm not going to let the spreads and the gaps get all crazy, and it was actually good. Saved me a good 20, 30 pips.
Nice one. I mean, you've got you can't see my chart here on the back here, but I spoke about this morning in our live stream in the premium room. I basically I put in two buy zones. I put in two buy zones in the CAD yen, and the first one is basically where we are. But I'll tell you exactly where it is. It's at 115.21. Okay, we did pierce there over the numbers. An animal come back from me this morning on the thing, and so that was my buy zone for there. We are at that buy zone now, but the more that was the aggressive buy zone. The buy zone that I was really looking at to get into a continuation of the dollar yen strength was 114.90. Okay. So that's my next level. Okay. To get in. Now, what I think is quite interesting to note is that since the announcements have come out, you've had the dollar index has come off.
Right.
Come off somewhat.
Right.
But if you look at what's happening to the bond markets, the bond markets have also come off. Which, as you know, if you don't know, I'll tell you. Not you, Jason, but if you don't know, when bond prices come off, bond yields go up, and when bond yields go up, that tends to favour the US dollar naturally. So what you're seeing at the moment is the bond markets. Okay, it's now 260. It was up at 261 when I looked a second ago. It's just come back to 259.53. But generally, the bond market tends to lead the dollar yen index. So what I'm saying is that the dollar index could almost be the dollar yen could almost be a reasonable time to get in now, just on the back of the strength of the or the weakness of the bond markets.
Sure.
But what of course is key to all of that is what's happened to the stock market, Jason.
Yeah, stock markets are showing futures up 100 points already. Yeah.
Well,
so stock markets are liking it so far.
The stock markets are liking it, which means I mean, a lot of this is very basic economics, but when stocks go up, bonds go down. That's a very basic. That's what should happen in theory. With people who are investing, they're moving into fixed income or they're moving into the stock market.
Right.
So when stock markets go up, say bonds go down. So when bonds go down, yields go up, dollar goes up. That's basic economics. So the stock market is up at the moment, which means which is basically good for dollar and for bond yields. And It'd be interesting to see now if the dollar yen actually continues on its upward momentum. Last time we had, in fact, if you go back to last when Yellen talked about the three interest rate cycles moves we're going to see in the cycle. The dollar yen spurted up and it went up to 118 against the dollar yen. Dollar index went up to something like 103, something like that. Now, you've got everything's going according to plan. There are really strong numbers coming out of the US still. You've still got the Trump administration talking about its fiscal plans, and that means it's spending money. It means tax cuts. It's all much a very growth thing. It's big for stock markets. Whether they actually deliver it, get it through Congress or not, remains to be seen. But this is all bullish stuff. So it's business as usual in terms of in terms of where the Fed is seeing the moves. Good numbers coming out, but the dollar is 300 points away from its high, 350 points away from its high. I think the dollar index, I think the dollar yen went up to 118.70.
Yeah.
And we're now at 115. So it's still almost 380 pips away.
Right.
From where we were when Yellen announced this.
Divergence for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's mileage. There's certainly mileage in buying dollar yen at these levels. It's business is going according to plan. So it's almost undervaluing there of the dollar against the against the yen.
Yeah. Yeah,
In
I
terms
agree
of
with you. I agree with
in
you.
terms of, sorry to ramble on here, but in terms of dollar euro, now this is a tricky one as well, because the dollar euro is now we're seeing sort of like a shift away from. He hinted at it yesterday, like a shift away from from stimulus, sort of on the verge of being hawkish, a possible change in monetary policy coming out of Europe, and policy changing, obviously, or in the process of it in the Fed. Playing euro dollar at the moment, that's not the best way, I don't think, to play dollar strength at the moment. I think you should be playing dollar strength against the yen. I think you should be playing euro strength against the yen, possibly the British pound. As much as I hate to say that,
right?
The British pound under pressure, Brexit concerns, buying euro, selling British pound could be the way to play the euro strength as well. Yeah. Playing euro dollar at the moment, it's the most actively traded currency pair. Maybe not the best opportunities in that pair at the moment. Consider that, I would say.
I like that. I know this week we were talking about the best way to play dollar strength. And I think I said it a couple times, and I heard you say it at least once. If you're going to be looking to buy the dollar, in other words, sell the euro dollar, pound dollar, Aussie dollar, selling the euro dollar probably wouldn't be the best one, because the euro strength is there. So you look at the Aussie or the pound, and it's worked out pretty well. What do you hear? I mean, being in the UK yourself, what do you hear about the Brexit stuff in the news? I don't know if you hear anything different than we do here, but ever since that meeting over the weekend, the pound has really been taking a beating and is becoming more of like a hard Brexit likelihood and a clean separation, and that's been putting the pound under pressure. But is there any kind of inside information that you have on that?
Well, there's certainly not any inside information. I mean, what you're picking up is that if anything, that was the talk out last week about about the harder Brexit and so forth, and pound's been under pressure of it. The pound's got its own problems getting it through their two houses of parliament they've got here. They've got a lower house and an upper house, House of Commons, House of Lords. Lords sort of stuck their boot in a little bit, so it sort of put concerns about whether Prime Minister may be able to trigger Article 50. So that's sort of like put pressure under the pound. The pound's not had a good bunch of numbers recently either. We had the budget out yesterday, didn't do very much. But more what I've seen more so this week is that there seems to be more compassion coming out of Europe, and realizing as we get closer to Article 50 being triggered, that it's not going to be as possibly as hard as some of the Remainers or some of the commentators are saying. I mean, Europe are realizing, I think, to a certain extent, that things have to work. It's like any divorce. You can have a divorce in marriage. God forbid if that's happening to anyone here, but you can have a divorce. It can be a painful one, or it can be not so painful. They're never nice,
right?
But sometimes it's better to bite your tongue and try and make it as less painful as possible. And I think that's sort of like that theme is coming out of Europe a little bit more. More so, we'll have to wait and see. But now it's coming imminent.
Yeah, right.
Europe have got their own problems as well, and the last thing they want is a fight with us as well.
Right.
Europe have got the French elections. You've got the Pen, the far left.
Yep.
Was gaining ground last week against the centre ground, but that seems to have subsided. You've got the Italian elections, you've got the Dutch elections, you've got the German elections at the end of the year. There's now talk about chucking Greece out of the euro as well again. This is all coming to hell again. Europe have got their own concerns. The last thing they want is start fighting wars with us as well, the British, that is.
Right.
So I think the harder Brexit, quite honestly, is not so likely as it was maybe a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
However, the euro pound is going that way. So who am I to fight that? I've got
That's
to go,
right. That's right. One of the things I wanted to cover before we go off here in a little bit is the week ahead. But before we do that, here's a question I got from a trader just yesterday. He asked me on Skype, and I gave him my opinion. But what do you think? I mean, Great Britain leaves the euro, right? What are the odds that other countries are going to follow and the euro is going to crumble apart? I mean, Draghi addressed it directly and said the euro, the ECB, the whole thing is solid. But what are your thoughts on it? I mean, in the future.
Well, I mean, there's talks about Frexit. I mean, I don't know if I like these these acronyms, but
right.
Frexit now is the French exit. But obviously, and Le Pen, who's the far left, was hinting about that. I mean, there's certain. I think it will stick together. I think it will hold, but it just needs some radical changing, across the board. It's beneficial for Germany. It's beneficial. It's actually quite beneficial for France, but it's not beneficial for a lot of the other countries. You've got Greece, Portugal, Spain, massive unemployment. It's not good for these countries. So they need some radical shifting. It's great for Germany, clearly. So there needs to be some big changes for it to stick together. And I think at the end of the day, they will get round the table and over the next year or couple of years or so and just sort it out. So I think it will ultimately stick together. In terms of the dissidents, the French and what have you. We don't know if Le Pen's going to get in. Opinion polls have been wrong, as we know, right. But she is slipping in the opinion polls at the moment. We'll see if she was to get in, and the French were to vote out. Well, there could be some concerns,
right?
But that's why there's uncertainty, and that's why there's uncertainty in the euro. That's why buying euro against the British pound hurts me to do it. But I've always said, I can't. I'm not an economist. I'm not an analyst. I'm not. I don't know. But I just have to see what I know how to follow trading charts. I know what to do when I'm in a wrong trade. I know what to do when I'm in a right trade. Right. I can trade the market, but I can't predict the future, and I don't profess to be able to predict the future. I have to do what I see is happening in the charts at the moment. I'm buying euro yen. I'm happy to buy euro yen. I'm happy to buy euro pound, as much as I hate to say it, and euro dollar. Keeping away from at the moment.
Yeah. Do you still have your opinion on the sitting on the beach call option pound dollar? What would you say, 125 or 135?
Well, no, I mean we're trading at 122 at the moment. So my call option is basically it is actually still on the table. I mean it's a call option, and it's a leap, which is a long-term option. So it's a Christmas option or December or January option. Mm-hmm. Buying a strike price, which is still ways away from here, so you can buy a strike price of 128 or 130. So you get you're not paying as much for time for intrinsic. You're paying for time value, of course. That is the trade. Buy that and go and sit on a beach. Yeah, buy some cocktails.
Nice.
Well, if I'm wrong, Jason, the maximum you'll lose on that is the price that the option cost you.
Right.
That could once you put that away, put it under the pillow and forget about it. So yeah, that's cool. the trade. The cool. Trade of the year.
Got it. I'll remember it. It's not.
Full disclaimer, Jason. I talk about that because it's a good conversation to talk about. I have not bought it. Right. Full disclaimer. It's just a bit of an interest. I generally think the pound will be much higher than it is at the moment once we're a year into Brexit talks. Right. I haven't done the position. I don't trade options now because I just haven't got that the patience for that so much of long-term options. So I don't do it. But that's what it is.
Right. No, I got it. It's fun to talk about, and that's what we got to have a little bit of fun and think about that stuff. What do you think about the week ahead? I mean, I'm just scrolling through the news here. We got Draghi speaking right away Monday morning, ECB, and that talk. Let's see what it says here. Due to deliver opening remarks at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology for Innovation in Frankfurt. So. I don't know what he's going to be talking about, if it's going to be the euro or not, but I'm not familiar with him talking over there.
No, I don't think. I mean, that to me, that's to me is a non-event, quite honestly. Draghi is one of these blokes that really likes to be well rehearsed in what he says. Mm-hmm. If you look at the questioning, he doesn't know the questions on the press conferences. Right. But he handles press conferences very well. He's unlike certain leaders that I know, who basically, doesn't really think before his answers sometimes.
Trump always is well rehearsed.
That's what I'm talking about. So he's well rehearsed in what he says. They admit words from their statements. They admit sentences as they've done this week, knowing the reaction, accept action, and almost wanting the reaction. So I don't think he's going to come out with anything on Monday that he hasn't already said today. Now he might reiterate what he said. He's basically moving. He's hinting that there could be a move away from negative rates. He's hinting at possible tapering. Mm-hmm. That's what he wants to do. He might reiterate that, but there's nothing that he hasn't already said. Right. So you might find the market react because they haven't heard it, and there's people sitting in banks thinking, "Hey, I think there's going to be tapering. Let's go and buy the euro." Mm-hmm. But in terms of what there'll be no shockers in there. There will also be no shocks in the FOMC, of course. Mm. But presumably there's a press conference after the FOMC, so that might be of interest if to see what she comes out with in terms of now that data is out. Obviously, number. Yeah. But in terms of the average earnings rate, that was lower than expected. So the market was really looking for a higher average hourly earnings rate. Didn't come out higher than expected, which is why the dollar index has come off, of course. Right. So it'd be interesting to see that her take on that. If they start to give any clues of the next moving of the next hike. So right. March hike that's done. That's got to happen. It's the ones after that. I think we'll look for guidance on her talk maybe after the.
Yep. That's so good that you brought that up, Andrew, because that was one of my goals to talk about, was to take a look at the news on Wednesday. We have unemployment claims out of Great Britain. We have U.S. dollar CPI, retail sales, core CPI. We have FOMC rate statement and projections, which we are assuming 99% that the rate's going to go up. And then we have that press conference. And I agree with you. That's one of the things I wanted to bring up to everybody in the room, is the press conference after. The sort of jawboning about what's going to happen in the months and ahead, and what the outlook might be for the interest rate increases later in the year. I think that's going to be much more important than the number now, because we're all sort of pricing in the number already. But again, we got GDP out of New Zealand after that. We got Australian unemployment change. We got BOJ policy rate, monetary statement. I mean, if you look at your economic calendar, Wednesday is basically just a slew of red paint, and then it follows up right away Thursday with the Great British Pound rate, the LIBOR rate out of Swiss, the Philly Fed. I mean, Wednesday and Thursday morning next week are going to just be nuts. I mean, the markets, it's got every huge news event you could imagine, aside from non-farm, in a 12 to 20 hour window. So we'll be covering that in the rooms, obviously, in real time. Hopefully we can profit on that volatility. And that analogy I used about sweeping a net across a field full of butterflies and trying to catch a few pips, I think that's going to be the way to go. But a lot of big news.
It's not just dollar denominated interest, is it? I mean, it's there's a lot. You say you've got the Australia, you've got Japan,
pound.
Yeah, pound, of course. It's worth keeping an eye on commodity prices as well. That's affecting the Aussie dollar in the last week or so. Commodity prices have come off, copper and what have you. So there's a lot out there next week. So it's good. You're good. I've got to fly out at some point. But it's going to be a good, interesting week. Yeah,
it is. And you know what I think is going to happen, and this is just my opinion from over a decade of watching Forex charts, is that we're going to see some volatility, of course, in the rest of the today as the markets take in the non-farm number. But then I think we're going to have a little gap in the beginning, when the market opens. And then I don't think we're going to see a lot of movement and a lot of craziness Monday and Tuesday. That's just my thought. And you know what happens? The markets before non-farm, for example, you get that hesitation, 6 hours, 4 hours, 12 hours before, where a lot of traders don't want to get big positions before the news. And here on Wednesday and Thursday, we have nothing but hammering big news nonstop. So I think leading up to those couple days, like Monday, Tuesday, I don't think we're going to see a lot of big moves. I mean, maybe we'll get on maybe it'd be a good time to trade some channels, to try to bounce some things around as the market's sort of hesitating and waiting for all the news. I mean, that's a lot of news. I mean, we got our top few countries all releasing their interest rates, and Forex markets. I mean, the whole point of trading Forex is interest rate. How much is the currency worth? So a lot of big stuff to come ahead. So if you're trading next week, I think market open all the way through Tuesday, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, wherever you are in the world will be good. But I'm going to be a little hesitant Wednesday, Thursday. So, yeah.
Yeah, I totally get that. Totally agree. I mean, it's a lot of just on the dollar at the moment. I mean, until we get some big catalyst. I mean, it's it's difficult to see any real big moves coming up. So you're right. Those other countries' monetary policies and statements and economic data could give you some guidance. Just to make you can make 30 or 50 pips. Give me the name of that guy that's making all those pips, and there's euro yen scalping for 30, 50 pips at a time.
Right.
That's a great way of trading. Covering risk, analysing risk first. Make sure your risk profile is in accordance with your plan. Make sure you're not risking too much. Making sure you're taking more profits on your on your winning trades. Don't cut your profits too early just because you've had a couple of losing trades. That's the biggest mistake that bleeds many trading accounts. People have got to get real to trading. I mean, I think you can have 10 losing trades on the bounce. It's not uncommon. But when you have your losing streak and then suddenly you have a couple of winning streaks, you have to appreciate you can have winning streaks and losing streaks. When you're having a losing streak and then you turns around and you're on a winning streak, don't start cutting your profits just to get back on your losing streak, because that's the way it goes, and that's where traders most of the time will lose money or bleed money eventually over time. It's because they don't appreciate how the trading cycle goes, winners and losers, and they start meddling with their risk profile. Bleeds accounts, Jason. Bleeds accounts. I've seen it so many times.
I think the holy, now again, my opinion might be different than yours and everybody else's, but I think the holy grail to trading Forex and making money is that slight edge you get all the time. I mean, I'm just thinking back years ago after non-farm, I'd have the euro dollar chart open on the 1 minute with the tick chart, trying to use some Fibonacci to try to fade it and get back in, and my neck is all tight, and half the time I make it, half the time I don't. I mean, that's not the way to live your life and build a account, but you think about the casino mentality is so good. I mean, the spin of the roulette wheel. I mean, if you pick red or black and red hits 6 times in a row, you don't bet the whole house on black because it's due to come. Nothing's due to come at all. It's all random. Every spin is random, right? So people have to realize that when a pair is rising and rising and rising and taking out all the resistance and pushing up, you don't just sell because you think it's due, because it's not due. It's random. It's a spin of the wheel. I mean, it's all independent. So there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know about, of course, with the world markets. But you just got to trade each one and assess your risk and take that sweet edge. People are getting probably sick of this story, but the casino across the way from me here doesn't care if somebody wins $10,000 or $20,000 today on a slot machine, because they got 1, 2, 5, 10% edge on every game in there 24 hours a day. And that's how you have to be. I mean, you have to say, it's okay if I lose this trade, because over time, I don't even need to win half of them, and I got a bigger reward to risk, and I'm going to come ahead. Just like my week here. I mean, thousands of dollars this week, and all I had was a few trades,
Well, you say the roulette wheel. I mean, there's 36 numbers on the roulette wheel, and they pay out. There's 37 numbers, and they pay out 36 to 1.
Yeah.
Or 2 zeros. It's got
in Europe, in the US, we have 0 and 00 now. It's terrible.
Okay, so there's 38 numbers.
38, yeah. They call it a European wheel if it's 1 0.
So that's their edge. I mean, what's that? That's it's less than 1% edge. It's I mean, it's such a small edge, but it makes money.
It definitely does
over time.
It definitely does. In red and black and the whole thing. That's how you do it. I mean, they always say, because living next to the casino here, I know a lot of people that work there, and they always say, I mean, everybody who gambles at all knows this. If you find a wheel with only 1 0 instead of 2, it's way better odds, and that's why they're hard to find. So, that's sort of the biggest points I wanted to cover. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit about Brexit, see if other countries might be thinking about leaving in the future, what your feeling was. I wanted to get your sort of thoughts on the whole thing over there in the UK, and then I wanted to talk about the huge week of news we have next week, especially Wednesday and Thursday, and my thoughts on what the week might be in the beginning. Bring up the fact that didn't have a lot of trades this week, had a handful, but did really well.
Did you do, Jason? Did you do a? I know you did. I don't know if it's up. I haven't checked. Did you do a podcast this week with the winners competition last week?
I did one with Lushan and Class.
Are they available up on the site yet?
I don't see them here. When I was talking to the guys, they were thinking maybe Thursday they would have them up, but I don't see them yet. So I'm sure they'll be up there soon. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that'd be good to hear those as well. I'm looking forward to those.
Mm-hmm. You bet. The contest here is well underway. I think we have there's 35 people going, maybe 38, 40. There's a few others that aren't funded, but keep an eye on the contest. A lot of great stuff going on there. And each month, I'll do my very best to interview the winners if you want to be interviewed on a podcast. We got some nice little questions about how you trade and where you're from and all that kind of fun stuff, so everybody can learn. I think it's a great thing.
Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. Well, dollar's having a small bounce from its lows after the numbers. So we'll see if that just starts grinding higher. The bond markets are have actually come off now. The bond markets have actually just followed the the dollar to but as far as playing it now from the playing the markets this afternoon, I'm going to look at dollar yen, and I'm going to look at continuing euro yen. I don't generally have trades into the weekend, but there might be a few picks to be made in continuations of those trends, guys. Just having a quick look on the strength meter. We're seeing the CAD's having a bit of obviously it's had the rally, but it's coming back somewhat now. So it's having a bit of a correction. Not against the US dollar, it's not though. Yes, it is. Yeah, sorry, it is. Bottom of my chart. And the euro is continuing to be strong. The Swiss hasn't done exceptionally well over the last couple of hours. The Swiss is under a bit of pressure. The euro Swiss might be one to look at.
Yep. I also like looking at gold here as well. I mean, gold had a lot of volatility with the number, of course, and it was sitting at about 1196 and change before, popped all the way through 1200 up to 1206, and now it's right back down at 1202. And if you're trading gold or watching it, if you look left on your chart, 15-minute or hourly, we did not take out the swing highs there. So gold is still resuming the push downwards. Silver, my old buddy, is right at 16.997 right now, and it's also starting to push back down. So if we see the dollar index start to turn around a little bit, it'll be interesting to watch the metals, see what we get out of it. So dollar yen though, I like dollar yen to the upside. I mean, I think I'm on boat with you on that one. Or on board with you there. 15.10 is about as low as we got, roughly, give or take a few pips, starting to push back up. When the stock markets are going up and risk on in the markets, the yen generally weaken, as we've been seeing. We've been talking for the last couple of weeks about how the dollar yen is undervalued compared to a lot of other things. I think it might have just got a little better deal there to get long.
Absolutely, the pullbacks and ride the trend.
Got it. Cool. All right, Andrew. I have everything off my list I wanted to cover. How about yourself?
I don't have a list, but everything's off it. Yep. Yep.
Cool. I still remember that live stream when you had the Santa Claus shirt on. I mean, we've been doing this for a while now. Sort of cool. When are you heading out? I'm
going to my villa on Friday, next Friday. So I will be here for the week.
Okay.
But I'll be coming in from. I'm either going to take a green screen with me, or I'll just have the backdrop of my pool. And
you told me you're going to bring a green screen, and I think I wrote cool or awesome, but I thought right away, why would you need a green screen when you're in that location? I mean, you don't want a green screen there. You want the real background, palm trees and all the beautiful stuff.
Oh, I'll have that certainly for people that know me, know us. Yeah. But obviously, we get a lot of people that don't. A lot of people come into our site that have never heard of us before, just through searches and what have you. And if they see me sitting there in my swimming trunks in a swimming pool, they might think, "Who's this joker?"
Yeah.
So I will be having some shots for the people in the room here that know us.
Cool.
But obviously, on a more serious note, I will have a green screen there. So I'll be doing some videos there as well.
Yeah.
And
I mean, think about that. I mean, if you're watching this right now, think about that. I mean, you type in Forex in Google, all you see is people trying to sell something: Lamborghinis, beaches, women, bikinis, money, all the champagne. And here Andrew's going somewhere that's just awesome. And he doesn't even know if he wants to show it because people might think that we're hyping it up. I mean, so
absolutely, I'm different. I'm as transparent because it's my villa. I bought it. I bought it 7 or 8 years ago. It's a beautiful. You'll see it next week. You'll see it throughout the year, as I keep popping back. But I don't want to promote that to people that thinking I'm selling Lamborghinis and what have you, because it gives the wrong impression. The market's full of snake oil charlatans that do all that. So people in the room that know me will see me, but for the sake of the new people that are coming in, I'll have a green screen and I'll have a boring office here in London.
You'll have a background of your office in the UK. That's funny. But I have to bring it up just one more time because I've been around Forex for 10 years or more and totally in with all the websites. I mean, I bought the EAs, I've done all the stuff, I bought into the hype, I've lost, I've won, I've seen a lot of things, right? And to have somebody who actually has the stuff working and going say that they don't want to flash around the fancy stuff once in a while, that tells you guys that, I mean, this is the real deal. I mean, this is a person who's not out to take your money and scam you. I mean, isn't that awesome? I mean, if you're probably nodding your head if you're watching this. I mean, you got a guy that's got the fancy stuff here and doesn't even want to show it off because he's like, hey, I don't want to be all about that. That's huge. So I mean, to me, that's huge. So props to you.
Well, it's the way it is. And, think about everyone on this site. And to be honest, it's one of the reasons why when Nick and I spoke last year, Nick to me just comes across as one of the most honest men in business that I've ever met in my life, and that's why I was happy to work with him.
Yeah. Same here.
I've not been, I've not been in education before I joined Forex Signals. I've been in education locally, just people that mates of mine and friends of friends that come around, maybe, but I haven't gone public on anything. So it was something I didn't want to get too involved in because of the market reputation and what is out there. But Nick's just, Nick and Forex Signals and the guys here at Forex Signals just came across to me as being, the trustworthy folk, and that's why I was happy to join forces with them. Yep. So and I haven't looked back. I'm really enjoying it. Love talking to you guys there in the rooms. We have great conversations every day, and we pick some good moves, and it's just great. It's good for everyone.
Yeah, it's like a family. I mean, it's like a second family, really, and we just have to make sure that we still have our life on the backside. You want to be trading, but you want to also have a life that you enjoy. So, it's one of those things. Like when you're looking at your charts, sometimes the longer you look at your charts, the less money you make. So you gotta keep it simple. When you're doing your trades, and don't be afraid to take a break once in a while.
Oh, I'll be doing that, Jason. Don't you worry about
that. I know. I'll be there. I'll be there in my mind. Maybe someday. That'd be cool to come out. Cool.
Or maybe we can do that for one of the trade competitions. Maybe we can have a competition just to join us in the villa for a week on
that'd be fun.
In time.
That'd be fun.
Food for thought. I'll think about that.
All right. Well, I guess we'll sign off for now then, and wish you a great rest of the day. Be safe trading. Have a great weekend. Don't forget U.S. and Canada daylight savings times this weekend, so things are gonna be a little bit thrown off. When you might have to reset your Forex calendar. You might have to reset the hours. Don't get thrown off on that next week. So just a little heads up for that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So thanks for that, Jason. Yeah, I appreciate that.
All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. Talk to you later.
Good luck. Bye-bye.